In today's video, I'm going to share with you 10 things that you can say to crush the narcissist. So be sure to stick around till the end of the video because you don't want to miss this one. Let's get started. Tamie M. Joyce here, empowerment life coach, creator of the Freedom class and the Ascension class. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And if you're back, welcome back. Thanks for showing up and for tuning in. Either way, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. So let's talk about 10 things that you can say to crush the narcissist. But before we dive into the 10 things, a disclaimer. If you are dealing with someone who has the potential to become violent or otherwise dangerous to yourself or any other vulnerable sentient being, animals, children, the elderly, whoever, this is not the video for you. This video is intended for those of you who are dealing with your, for want of a better way to put it, garden variety destructive narcissist, the individual who is emotionally and psychologically manipulative, abusive, deceptive, toxic, and harmful to a degree. This is not for those of you who are dealing with full-blown psychopaths or sociopaths, or otherwise antisocial, high-spectrum, personality disordered individuals who have the potential to become violent or otherwise dangerous. So if that's you, this is not the video for you. Again, this video is intended for those of you who know that you're in a safe place, you're feeling strong, and using any of these strategies, tools, techniques are all about taking your power back and disengaging from the sick, toxic, dysfunctional dynamic, preferably altogether, if you're able to do so. Always going to be your best bet. This is not intended to give you tools and strategies to go poke the bear and end up dealing with someone who is, again, potentially dangerous. If that's you, if you're in a situation where you're dealing with someone who has the ability, you know, from past experience to become violent or otherwise dangerous, whether they're targeting you or your pets or your children or someone else's children or someone else's pets or the elderly or whatever it is, please contact the authorities. Please stop this video right now, contact the authorities, and or do whatever it is that you need to do to keep yourself and those in your care, those in your charge, safe. Now, with all of that said, and assuming that everyone is safe, if you are going to implement or use any of the 10 things that I'm about to share with you, I want you to be prepared for the backlash because it's coming. Narcissists, whether they're low spectrum, medium spectrum, especially if they're high spectrum, but even those who are, you know, more, again, garden variety, lower spectrum, toxic, dysfunctional, manipulative, deceiving, your garden variety destructive narcissist, we're talking about very spiteful people. Now, typically, their spite will come out through a smear campaign. It's a question of words. They'll smear you to anyone who will listen. They'll say whatever it will take. No boundaries or limits there, no matter how untrue, no matter how cruel, no matter how bizarre, no matter how much projection is involved. More often than not, that's what the backlash is going to be, right? So be prepared that if you are going to use any of the following 10, with intent to take your power back, disengage from the sick, dysfunctional dynamic, and crush the narcissist on your way out, there's likely going to be some backlash, right? We're talking about spiteful people who are very easily slighted. So you want to be prepared for that, you know, eyes wide open, tell yourself the truth. Again, do this from a place of strength, with a very specific intent involving personal empowerment, setting limits and boundaries, making it real clear who you are. I am not a good target. This is not a good place to play your games, sort of attitude, right? It's all about the energy that we carry. And no, there's a good chance that something's going to come your way. One way or another, they're going to look for an opportunity to get back at you. More often than not, that's going to come in the way of toxic gossip and a smear campaign. If you're anything like me, who cares, right? Who cares? Those who know me know exactly who I am, what I'm about, where my heart is, who I am as a human being on this planet. And the bottom line is, I know the truth of who I am. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table, right? So we all want to get to that place of being solid in our own personal sense of self, where the backlash that may or may not come doesn't even land, has no effect. If you are affected to a large degree by, oh, what are they going to say? What if they tell lies about me? What if they run around the neighborhood or the office or the whatever? If you are really wrapped up in that sort of fear, you've got work to do. You've got work to do. We have to get to a place where we are standing on the solid foundation of our own sense of self-love and self-esteem. And I know that's a journey. I've not spent my whole entire life standing on that foundation. So I know the road. I know the journey it takes to get to that place. And you really want to make that a goal to where it doesn't matter what they say. You know who you are. Let that be enough. So here are 10 things that you can say to crush the narcissist. Number 1, that's not my problem. In particular, when you're dealing with a covert narcissist, because all the chaos and drama, the never-ending victim story that they've got going on will be brought to your doorstep. So when you say, that's not my problem, and say it like you mean it, carry the energy, detached, non-reactivity, I'm not getting sucked in, I'm not being manipulated, that is not my problem. In other words, I will not fix you, enable you, try to rescue or save you from the problems that you yourself create, perpetuate, and participate in. Boom, it's over. Number 2, I don't owe you anything. And silence. End of story. I don't owe you my time. I don't owe you my attention. I don't owe you my energy. I don't owe you my money or any other resource for that matter. Period. I don't owe you an explanation. I don't owe you an answer to your imbecilic questions. Period. End of story. I dance for no one. Remember, narcissists are entitled and beyond manipulative. So when you communicate succinctly with crystal clear clarity, I don't owe you anything, not my time, my energy, or any other resource. I don't even owe you an explanation or an answer. In other words, you are not entitled to my time, my energy, or any other resource that I have. You are not entitled. When you communicate that with crystal clear clarity, I don't owe you anything, period, end of story, you have fully taken your power back and it's game over. Number 3, no. Seriously, no is a full sentence. And many of you need to learn how to say it and mean it, right? Like say it and actually back it up, actually mean it. And the best way to do that is to say no. No is a full sentence, right? No, one word, silence. Let the silence that follows speak for itself. And the truth is, narcissists aren't real good at taking no for an answer, right? Like those of us who have been dealing with these emotional toxic manipulators, no, they don't necessarily just give up and roll over and, get all respectful on you and, respect your wants, your needs, your preferences, your wishes, your desires, and your healthy limits and boundaries, right? So you might have to repeat yourself. That's true. You might have to repeat yourself. But when the narcissist comes at you and tests you, not taking no for an answer, I think the best thing that you can say to them is, I've already given you my answer. And silence. Let the silence speak for itself. Super succinct, super clear. Easier said than done for some of you, for sure. Those of us who have been narcissistically abused by our family of origin, by, relationship after relationship, long-term marriage, what have you, those of us who have been emotionally and psychologically abandoned, neglected, abused, tortured, you name it, right? Undermined, sabotaged, criticized, diminished, demeaned, had our self-esteem pummeled into the dirt. Those of us who have been gaslit our whole lives, it doesn't come easy initially, but I promise you this, a little practice goes a long way. Add to that some real healing and recovery work for yourself, specific to codependency, adult child syndrome, and narcissistic abuse, it gets a whole lot easier. No, it's a full sentence. Learn how to say it. Number 4, I can't, or I won't. End of story. Let it land. Let the silence speak for itself. What you're saying fundamentally is, no narcissistic supply to be had here. Bye. Number 5, I'm busy, or I don't have time. What? How dare you? Right? Back that up with some powerful silence. Certain in your energy, in the energy that you carry, right? What happens? Crushed. Mission accomplished. Now, comment below and let me know whether or not you've tried any of these techniques to this point, and were they successful? Have they worked for you? And who exactly is the destructive narcissist that you're struggling with in your life? If you have any questions around that, feel free to drop them in the comments as well. I'll be happy to address those in the comment section for you. And if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there are links in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Number 6, you have to stop now. Look, narcissists have the emotional intelligence of barbarians, for real, but selectively so, right? Depending on who's watching. They also have no limits and no boundaries, like I said earlier. So if you are in a situation where you have no choice, or for whatever reason you are choosing to continue to engage with this empathy impaired, conscienceless, emotional manipulator, toxic perpetrator, toxic individual, it's fully going to be up to you to learn how to set healthy limits and boundaries. And if you say, but Tamie, I can't, or I don't know how, no sweat. Learn, develop the skill. You can do this. I promise you. There was a time when I had no idea how to set a limit or boundary with anyone in my life. Why? Because I was raised by a bunch of emotional barbarians who had no limits or boundaries, right? So if we aren't taught how to not if we aren't taught how to develop them, if we don't carry them, if no one models that for us from a young age, and furthermore, when we're taught that we don't even have the right to limits and boundaries, which is the truth for many of us who have grown up in, high levels of dysfunction and narcissistic abuse, right? Of course, we land in adulthood not knowing how to set healthy limits and boundaries. But the thing is, if you want to put an end to the abuse and you're in a situation where for whatever reason you can't or won't go blown no contact, you might have very good reason. It could involve a child or an elderly parent or whatever, where you have to stay engaged or you're choosing to stay engaged with this type of person. It's absolutely fully going to be onto you to learn how to develop healthy limits and boundaries. You have to learn how to do that for yourself. Establish them, back them up, hold the line, and hold firm. There's no other way. Number 7, I didn't listen to your voicemail or read the email or the text. In other words, I'm not interested. And you don't matter much. In fact, you don't even register on the radar. Like, that's the message that you're sending when you say to a narcissist, I didn't read it. I didn't listen to it. And not another word, right? You're letting them know you don't even matter. You don't even register on my radar at all. Not interested, boo. And the truth is, that's a devastating message to send to an emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and spiritually ill, destructive narcissist who needs others to see them through their lens of their egotistical delusions of grandeur in order to know that they're alive. Number 8, that's not right. That's incorrect. Or you're wrong. And silence. Learn to use silence as the powerful weapon that it can be with these critters. Literally, this is enough to turn their overinflated ego and false sense of self into complete and utter dust in the wind. And again, mission accomplished. Number 9, you're a liar or a coward or a bully. You know it, and I know it, is the point that you're making, right? You know it. You know you're a liar, a coward, and or a bully. And I know you're a lying, cowardice, bully. Period. End of story. And when you make that crystal clear statement, you're a liar or you're a bully, and they come back with, I don't care. I don't care that you know. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. Right. Simply say, oh, you care. You care a whole lot. You know it, and I know it. That's the truth. And truly, this is all it takes to completely annihilate, to completely deflate this false, fragile little ego, right? Like this grandiose sense of self, this fragile ego, this false persona that they work so hard to project to the world. You come along with the truth, super succinct, super clear, pop. Game over. Mission accomplished. Number 10, beat it. Or scram. Or get lost now. And make a little hand gesture while you're at it. Say this with a "you are dismissed now" tone. And watch their jaw drop. And make sure they know you're serious. You're not playing. Okay? It's important that they know that you are fully prepared to go to the next level. You will call the authorities if necessary. You will get a restraining order if necessary. You will humiliate them in public if necessary, right? Make sure they know you're serious. You're not playing. Remember, these people are fully cowards at their core. Forget the false, phony persona and all of this that goes on. We're talking about cowards at their core here, right? So when they know that you're serious and that you aren't playing, again, it's game over with these little creatures. And again, if you're going to use any of these tactics, please be sure you're doing so from a place of strength and certainty that you and others are safe, right? No harm is going to come to yourself, your children, your pets, or, the elderly or anyone else who may be vulnerable, right? So these are not tactics that we use with, high spectrum personality disordered individuals who are real sick and, likely to be very destructive and dangerous. But these strategies, these tactics will work really well for your average destructive narcissist, your average individual who is empathy impaired, lacking in conscience to some degree, really toxic, really selfish and self-centered, really entitled, maybe addicted, right? Like could be that you're dealing with, an alcoholic and or addict in your life who has a lot of narcissistic traits, right? Your average garden variety individual whose nose is embedded firmly in their navel, hanging on to their little toesies, causing all kinds of chaos and drama everywhere they go. These strategies will work really, really well. And again, brace yourself for the backlash, right? They are, I repeat, spiteful little creatures. They don't play fair. They don't have limits and they don't have boundaries. So there will be backlash, right? You have to be prepared to weather that. You have to decide whether or not it's going to be worth whatever backlash may come your way, whether or not you care, whether or not you will be taken out by that, whether or not you will be deeply and terribly affected by that, right? But assuming you're safe, everyone's safe, and you're coming from a place of strength, detached non-reactivity, you've managed to get to that place, you can communicate very clearly where a narcissist stands in your life and change the game completely. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. My friends, I hope you got some value out of this today. If you liked what you heard, be sure to drop a like and a comment. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Once again, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Great big huge welcome. Super happy to have you here. Whether you're new or you're back, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. And as I mentioned earlier, if you would like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, you can either go directly to the website, TamieMCoaching.com, or you can check out the links in the description below. There is a link in the description below to apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. And as always, I will leave you with this. Know your value. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Much love. See you in the next video. Bye for now.